With the dedication of Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, along with the government of Sri Lanka, laid down several strategies to develop our nation, the mother nation Sri Lanka. And now it's time to make our contribution towards the development of Sri Lanka. Welcome to Crossfire, an exclusive production of Department of Government Information. And today we're going to talk about the development of Sri Lanka. And today talk about this subject, we have with us a very special guest. That is none other than a member of the parliament and at the same time a veteran journalist, Mr. J.R.P. Surya Peruma. Welcome, Mr. Surya Peruma. Welcome. Mr. Surya Peruma, to start our discussion, first would like to ask a very simple question. How do you see the current economic policy of the government of Sri Lanka?
That's a very broad question. You are compelling me to come out with a fairly big analysis. You must permit me that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I must tell you one thing. I'm a student of economics. My university degree was in economics. I was lecturing in university also in economic and political science. In all my experience in these institutions, I have venerated the concept of economics as a science. But then the globalization came on this earth and everything changed. With the globalization, there was a very important incident in world history. That is the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. For 75 years, Soviet Union was the second superpower in the world. It just collapsed. And the Soviet Union broke up into 15 pieces. Then Yugoslavia, a massive country, broke up into 8 pieces. Like that, all federations are more or less going into liquidation because there is no coherence, there is no agent to keep the thing together. Then on the surface, globalization was a great success. There was a great veneration to this subject. And libraries are full with books written on globalization. Then, Mr. Vaz, something happened in 2008. The year 2008, when you grow old and look back in history, it will be a very important dateline. Why? 2008 is the year when the essence of globalization collapsed. Why do I say that? Essence of globalization was the collapse of the Wall Street, headquarters of all the banks in the world. Stock markets were shattered and oldest company in America, Lehman Brothers, collapsed. Then the accountancy firm, the giant Anderson, looked to supervise the companies, collapsed, and the CEO is in prison today. So everywhere. Then the dollar, you must say, however fragile the dollar is still the world currency, reserve currency. Dollar is under great stress, and we are feeling. I'm going to the root of it. Dollar was an almighty dollar. They used to call it almighty dollar. Because the dollar is flat, it goes from hand to hand. Because the dollar is round, it goes from country to country, smashing up frontiers, governments, central banks, and customs. And so that dollar all of a sudden got a shudder. And now there are 2 or 3 other candidates meeting the dollar. The euro is one, but euro is still fragile.
Yeah.
Then there is another rising sun, Chinese yuan. So that is the compromise. I don't think either currency can fight the other. They are complementary. I think they are trying to coexist in the name of world, because whatever China produces, see, it must sell it to America.
Yeah.
So this is a partnership where one is the consumer, the other is a producer.
So America is the main buyer of Chinese
Buy
products.
everything. There's no other way where they can sell all that. So
Yeah.
prosperity is interdependent now. So in this context, I must tell you, I have the quotation. Last month, the World Bank president, Bob Zoellick, he announced in Washington, 2008 year is historic in the sense it is a qualitative change in the world. He says,
Right.
the word third world countries had been completely erased from the map. There is no more third world. He says, look at Brazil, look at Turkey, look at India, look at China. Now these are the third world agents once upon a time. Now that whole concept is dead. Now the map has to be rewritten. Therefore he says, we have to reanalyze the principles of economics. And he further says, for 20 years we were blaming inflation. Our danger was inflation. Now I recommend 4% inflation because our danger is now deflation, he says. Going down the demand. There's no demand. And the business is getting into a tortoise shell now.
Yeah.
So now he says, more than the inflation, we are coming so low that deflation. So that is why there's stimulus packets. Every country, Europe, launching stimulus packets. America launching.
Yeah.
So in this context, gentlemen, we have to look at what development is. We had a chart of development once upon a time. It's no longer valid. President Obama says we were depending on market forces. And we released the market economy and we reduced the state to a traffic constable without a baton. The state was that everything was given over to the private enterprise. Now after 25, 30 years, where are we going? He says, in economics, the economics started with Adam Smith, Mr. Vass,
Yeah.
1776.
The father of economics.
A father of economics. He wrote the book on Wealth of Nations. He says, hand everything to the market. In the market, supply and demand will pressurize and they have their agreed. They will come to a certain compromise where the forces are equal. And he says, don't worry about the market. The invisible hand, that is the word he used, the invisible hand will save the market and the economy. So very recently, President Obama is asking Mr. Adam Smith, where is your invisible hand? I am in trouble. Where is your invisible hand? And there is no answer to that. And now they say economics has become truly a dismal science. Dismal science. Once upon a time, Mr. Vas, the Oxford University refused to recognize economics as a scientific subject to be included in the degree course. That's about 200 years back. They say it's a dismal science. Dismal science. Now we have come somewhere further up here now. Now the question is, the word development will have to be analyzed once again. We have to give it new, fresh meaning. Because for one reason, the world balance has changed. There was a balance of power in the world once upon a time. That has changed.
Yeah.
That has changed. I must tell you, Arnold Toynbee, a great historian, had said, the civilization on either side of Atlantic Ocean has become suffering from political fatigue and military fatigue after 400 years of domination. Now, the gravity in the world, economic and political gravity shifting from Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Rim in the east. That had been confirmed by a great man, Henry Kissinger. He said what Arnold Toynbee said has come true. It is the Pacific Rim that is slowly asserting itself.
All right.
And they say 2020 China will have a massive economy. Now they have advanced the date to 2015, and already China has replaced Japan as the second power. So in this context, I must warn you, let us not expect conflict. Let us not expect that old Marxist type antagonism between forces. This is the way the world is getting integrated, become complementary to one another. And that's a very important lesson we have to take in the 21st century.
How do you see, amidst all this, how do you see the economic policy of the Sri Lankan government?
Yeah, very good, very good. Economic policy of Sri Lankan government is absolutely new. In this sense, let us forget the economic that we were chanting once upon a time. After China and India and the Asian powers, little by little, that's why the World Bank chief says a new phenomenon has come in the world. That is the rising of Asia. In Asia had not felt the shock, financial shock of the West. Not a single bank had collapsed in Sri Lanka. Not a single bank had collapsed in India. Not a single bank had collapsed in China. But in Japan, Europe, America, yes, banks are in doldrums. Now, therefore, this is a unique situation. The countries we separated as unworthy because they were third world poor countries. Why? Their per capita income was the lowest in the world, one. Second, the domestic savings is not enough to generate national economic investment. That is also a second question. Third, in the world, by the world standards, they are primitive. And that is no more, he says. Let us write anew. This World Bank president, in June he is saying this in Washington. Let us have new language, new vocabulary, new assessment of these countries. Why when the West and the Europe was suffering from this financial crisis,